Are you serious? Okay. 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 Everything's fine. Everything is perfectly fine.
God.
It kicked us out again. How did it kick us out? We had started the race.
Be having some issues
Okay.
already.
Oh boy, are we having issues or what?
It's gonna be interesting.
Very. Very. Alex Bennett, yes, I am very mad, bro. And you know it. I'm going to invite Adam. Oh, no, Adam's in. It was
Need to
me.
get Neo in
Harry
here.
needs an invite. Nito needs an invite. Yeah, because we know we're gonna get spammed the hell out of him if we don't give him an invite. Oh, he's in. Okay,
Neo.
cool. Very safe. Alright, I got a damn speed run this now. Well, this has been just about the start I expected it to be.
Speedrun invites. This is how you increase your invite speed.
Yeah, exactly. Change driver group. 2000. It doesn't really matter what group you're in.
Just like a caddy.
2000. Change driver groups. Change driver groups. Change driver groups. I want to die in the fire. Al's in the wrong group. Change driver group. 3000. Change driver group. 2000. Change driver group. I can't change SR20K series for some reason. Okay, I'm gonna kick him. I'm sorry to do it to you, man. And I'm gonna re-invite him. That seems so mean of me to do.
Oh,
Let's
hang on, I see what you're doing.
it. Wait, hang on. Al's in the wrong group now, so let's make him F3000. Harry's now in the wrong group, so let's make him F2000. Oh
So you know
wait,
how
when you kick someone, does it not let them back in?
I don't think it lets them back in.
If it doesn't let them back in, I will freak.
Or are we trying to get back in?
I don't know why Harry's in E-class.
Good.
Okay. Well, this has been a fantastic start. Looks like we're gonna have to restart the lobby again because Forza wouldn't let me change the flipping class of some guy. Ugh, good grief.
This is going swell.
Very, yeah, we're only 27 minutes late or whatever long. Let's see if about 75th time lucky it works. Load options. I don't know why we've been having so many issues. Change driver group. Who are we missing? We're missing Harry and Nita. Oh, is Harry's car illegal apparently? That could be an issue.
Yeah.
Oh, let me see if I can work out what's wrong with his car. Oh, well, it'll probably kick us out now if Harry doesn't get in time.
Yeah.
Which will be a lot of joyous fun.
He's back in.
There you go. Lovely stuff. Yeah, see, look, it changes them all. So now, like, now there's a couple more people in the parties. Okay, let's change him to F3000. Change you to 3,000. Leave you F2,000. Change Harry to 2,000. He's not seriously. Who's in a limo? Oh, that's you. I was like,
that's me. Don't worry.
It's real.
Don't worry. I'm not gonna be driving tonight. Oh god, that was crack. Oh. Thank you.
Plus 2,000. Well, upgraded. It's credit.
Questioning if I eat the food now or save it for later. I'm just gonna go ahead and try and munch through as fast as I can.
Yeah, you should probably try doing it right now.
Well, I could probably get through this in under a minute. Why do I have 3 straws?
Wonder what car he's trying to use that it thinks it's illegal. Engine placement front wheel drive, naturally aspirated. 550 PI. Those are the only things. Oh, hang on, minimum drivers, that might be it. No minimum drivers. I'll do that. Oh, he's not in the race anymore. Nice. Is the Mini considered mid-engined on this game? I think that might be considered mid-engine.
I have no idea.
Sure.
It might be.
Yeah. I'm picking up an Echo, but you can sort that before the race, right?
Yeah, hang on.
Okay, cool. Nice.
Right, how about now? Is there an Echo now?
No.
Okay.
Sorry if we've run into a couple of technical difficulties here to start. Oh yeah, I'll respond to Billy Gibbs. I'm streaming on Twitch.
As well as am I. Because Mixer is currently hitting the shits.
Yeah, it's not doing too well right now. Maybe Harry's worked out that's Alright, so turns out Harry's car was naturally was not naturally aspirated, as I thought. So what we're gonna have to do is go into the F2000 options down here to induction type. Aspiration, that's the one, and stick it to any. And now if we send him an invite, he should be able to join and should be able to use his car. Yeah, I think he thought that his car was Ooh, I should say, okay.
I don't know how I don't know if I've ever done this before. I think this is the first time I've ever bitten my finger while eating. I don't know how, but I must be pretty tired.
How is that possible?
Tired.
Okay, that's pretty impressive, I can't lie.
I'm worried about myself. but I'm gonna just continue eating.
Yeah, me too. Alright, looks like we've got everyone in here then. I've just sent off the link to my Twitch channel to the boys so that they can have a look at that if they want. Yeah, so we've got everyone in here. We've got 2 cars today in S2000. Harry in his Mini and the 1997 Honda Civic of SR20K series. And everyone else is in F3000. It's 3 cars so far today. We should be looking to have more people. Actually, yeah, that's interesting. That is, no. Andrew doesn't seem to be joining us.
It's quite interesting on how the more main people of the group are in the faster class.
Yeah, like you see the likes of Nido. Oh yeah, we need to. Wait, we can't spectate. Why can't we spectate?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Oh, I have to load the race. Okay, the race hasn't loaded yet.
Doing good.
Oh no, it's changed the glasses. Alright. Alright, well that's a bit of an issue. Yeah, but you see a lot of people like Adam and Al who are quite prominent in the Group C championship, and you see Nido who's obviously coming off the back of the 2 race wins in Group A this weekend. You know, quite prominent drivers in other championships have decided to join F3000 for this time. Now we can spectate. Lovely stuff.
There we go.
There you go. Beautiful. Alright, so we're about to get qualifying underway here for round... well, not even round 1, just the exhibition race for the XRACE Hot Hatch Series. The cars are lining up on the grid here now.
God, I can hear the car screaming now.
Yeah, you can just hear them like revved out.
Mm-hmm.
I believe they're underway somewhere, but we just can't see them. There they go. Lights out and run away.
Here goes
Alex Bennett out front.
Now, who I'm really wanting to watch is Nido, considering he's been getting better with his time. Oh, drifting through the front. Alright. That's one way to send it through. I'm wanting to watch Nido because his runs on Group A yesterday seemed very good, so I'm wondering if he's prominent with keeping the car stable and running it through the track, or if it's due to it being a different series, if he's going to end up spinning it. I think he might be able to hold it steady through this race. His car's looking decently promising, but I think Al and Adam are going to be the ones that we're wanting to watch for this race.
Definitely. I think you're very right there when you say about Nido. He's obviously racing in another touring car series that we run, so he'll definitely be used to this style of cars, but mid-90s rear-wheel drive touring cars are a lot different to, you know, kind of more modern front-wheel drive cars. There's definitely a lot of differences, and especially like when you're going from game to game, obviously Project Cars a lot different to Forza.
There's a very huge difference between each game. Because Forza seems to be more of like the arcadey kind of sim, while Project Cars 2 seems to be more of the realistic sim.
Yeah, as you know yourself, you participate in most of our Project Cars tournaments, but you're not a big fan of the stuff that we host on Forza, which is understandable. And there's people who are obviously on the other side of that fence, where they like the more kind of arcadey style that's more kind of inclusive than the kind of more simulator kind of side, which is a bit more niche to get into. You know, you really need a wheel to be competitive in Project Cars.
Yeah. Now, one thing that interested me is, like, Project Cars seems to have more realism, except some things on Forza seem to be more realistic than Project Cars. For, say, maybe take the NASCARs in each game. If you spin out with a NASCAR on Forza, the flaps on the car actually come up and work so you don't roll over. Well, in Project Cars 2, you're just spinning out like a normal vehicle. And then
there's when it comes to Forza, it's a lot more aesthetically pleasing than Project Cars.
Yeah.
It's just more kind of polished and well-rounded in terms of the actual presentation of the game.
Yeah. So it looks like SR20 is leading. Which class is that again? S2000?
F2000. Yeah.
F2000. And then Alex is leading the F3000 class.
Yeah, it's interesting that one thing to note with the Honda Civic there that SR20 is running, he actually doesn't have a front splitter on that car. So it'll be interesting to see. Obviously, he'll be making up for that down the straights, but it'll be interesting to see how that affects him through the corners throughout the course of the race. Oh, just a car guy's in here now. So we've now got a new entry into the grid, very late on. Yeah.
Lancia Fulvia. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, that'll be certainly an interesting choice. Oh, did that just do the thing that I think it did?
Yeah, I think. I don't know.
Oh wait, hang on. It's not got the actual car restrictions. Oh, it's not got the car classes set up. Hang on. Race setup.
I wouldn't be surprised if Nito raced a Ford U.
Oh well, that was an interesting one. See, these are the kind of things that we just can't really expect. Right, so
kind of
on.
nowhere.
It's 2. Grid ordering. Best lap of the previous race. Ascending. Yes. See, like these are the kind of things that we need to prepare for. This is why we have an exhibition race, just to try to make sure everything runs smoother next time out. Or best lap scores.
Yep. It's always good to have practice races before actual things.
Yeah, it's like a dry run.
Because it seemed pretty hectic trying to get this set up.
Oh yeah, well it certainly was. There was a lot of
technical issues.
Oh, yeah, so hopefully
Almost
by,
like half an
by
hour.
the next race is around, it'll be more kinked out. Most of those problems. Looks like everyone should be able to get into the right cars now. All the classes are set. Oh yeah, I just need to change the one for Harry in F3000. F2000 I should say. Lovely stuff. Adam not in the right car currently.
So Alex is possibly the one to take the win here due to his car being the fastest out of everyone else.
Yeah, he's on pole position for this race. Due to his speed earlier on. Just a car guy, even though he's in F3000, will have to start behind the F2000 cars due to missing qualifying. So that will be an issue for him in this one. Looks like everyone's cars are ready to go here, just waiting on Alex and Harry.
And I'll let my parents know not to interrupt me so I can actually do this without any distractions. My mom looked at me with like such a shocked face.
You commentating? Never thought it'd see the day.
It's like first time I'm actually commentating. Last time whenever we were doing the Trans Am race, I was just like doing that just to watch the race and just mess around. But this time I'm actually gonna try and commentate on this. This is more of a serious commentating. Granted, I'm using a different headset.
The echo's back, just so you know.
Oh, alright, hang on, give me a second. Is it back now?
It is not, I believe. We're just waiting on Harry to ready up. Now they're all ready. Commentators are in place, and the sprint race here is about to get underway.
I got worried for a second because it showed up in my car, and I thought I didn't have the spectating thing on. But checked and I do.
I don't know, I'm pretty sure both of us are spectators. I'm surprised by how long it takes to load when you have someone spectating.
Yeah.
And the lights out and it's underway. It's a good start from everyone, apart from Harry, who seems to have not gone off the line. Oh,
Why the Lancia moving up on the inside?
The Lancia moves up to second place already as they go 3 wide for the race lead. Al backs out of that one a little bit, and he lets
down the inside.
Adam and just a car guy go 2 wide there for the race lead. It's 2x2 in F3000 with the F2000 car right behind.
This is some good racing. I'm surprised Alex got dropped down to P4 while everyone else held up and went ahead.
Yeah.
He is the fastest car, so let's see if he can make up for the time.
Our pole sitter back to 4th, and the person who started on the grid last up to 1st. So it's all changed up here in F3000 at the moment.
This might be an interesting series considering the move that just happened right there. Also, let's notice that SR20K automatically gets a free win here because Harry seemed to have been kicked out before the race started for some reason.
Yeah, Harry.
So possibility of
Harry was readied up on the grid, but hasn't been able to make it to the grid.
Might have had a connection issue there.
Side by side for the lead. Yeah, it could have been very common, especially when you've got like people from America and Europe both trying to race together.
Multiple different countries all trying to connect here. Adam moves up to the lead now and holds a decent gap between just a... I'm having a stroke, hang on. Couldn't think of the name even though it's right in front of me.
Yeah.
Holding up ahead of that Lancia. Alex and Nito over here seem to be having a nice battle between each other. Nito holding on the outside, Alex going for the inside. Oh, Nito locks up a bit. Alex gets the inside one.
Can he get the cut
goes
back?
For a switchback, maybe.
Yes, he
Looks
can.
like it might work. Yeah, he's got the inside one. There you go.
Good little racing here.
And Nito.
This is the thing about.
Oh, a little bit of contact. Hang on, I saw some sparks there.
Still side by side. And
they're running
they're
that
trying to
pretty
sort
well.
themselves out. Can he get this again? No, it looks like he's clear this time. That's the thing about this class. It's a lot about momentum kind of driving. So you might have the momentum into a corner, but more than likely the car behind might be able to get the run on you out of the corner then, which could be key if you're only just a little bit faster down the straights. Obviously, with all these cars having 245 brake horsepower per 1,000 kilograms as their maximum power to weight ratio, they're all quite evenly matched, accelerating and kind of top end wise. So any momentum you can get is pivotal. As we see, second place, just the car guy swerves across to try to block Al. Al goes to the outside of the Fulvia.
So now we got the Fulvia, the Civic, and the Prelude, not the Integra.
Yeah.
All grouping up now for second place. Alex and Lancia making contact through the corner, trying to battle for P2 as Nito's trying to catch with him. He's trying his best to find a move around them. He's looking for the open door, but they seem to be holding it too wide and closing it as much as possible. Nito goes on the inside of Alex, goes a little wide. Goes a little wide out of that, and Alex gets a switchback on him, pulls up ahead. Some good racing right here.
Let's see now, can Nito get the run down the straight? Doesn't look like it. And
Adam, on
Alex
the other hand,
kind of
Adam seems to be
cleared out here. Obviously, though, he's very quick, and so is that Integra. But the problem with it is it's running on 225 tire widths in comparison to the guys behind, who I think are on 235s. I know, especially Alex and Nito are both on 235s. Not sure about the Fulvia. But their tyres will probably last a little bit longer into this race. Obviously, fuel and tyres here in the sprint race. So tyre wear is an issue, especially when you've got race tyres that wear quite quickly. As up the inside goes Alex there.
Yep.
Making a move for second.
So the leader right now is Adam by a pretty good distance. Best lap is from Adam with a 52.156, and we gotta see if anyone can try and catch or beat that lap. So we know that if they're trying, that we know if they're catching with the leader. Ooh.
Yeah.
It looked like the Lancia got a little sideways.
Yeah, he's up the inside here now. They're going to try to hold it too wide through this hairpin again, as we see so often through these opening couple of races.
It's quite interesting racing.
Cars, but they can still race just as hard and just as competitively.
Yeah. It doesn't matter what racing sport it is, it doesn't matter where it is, even rally, that's still something competitive, even if it's just one track or one car on the track. All kinds of racing has all kinds of competition, whether it be truck racing or drag racing. Truck racing is quite an interesting thing to watch, especially with the fact that they have to like spray their brakes with water so they don't overheat and explode on them. It's a really interesting element to it.
They've got so much weight to stop. They're asking a lot from those brakes, but because they're not really going that fast down the straights, they don't have much time to cool them. As we see the Fulvia locking up again. That seems to be an issue with the Lancia so far. Just braking traction
constant
a lot
locking
is the real issue we're seeing. Yeah, locking the front brakes and even losing the rear end on occasion. We have 5 people watching. Wow, hello, everyone at home watching. Glad you could all make it here. I wasn't even looking at.
Oh, watch the inside line. The Lancia takes the inside on Alex. Alex goes for a switchback. Here they go. Too wide. Alex slightly pulls his hood up ahead.
Side.
And then another switchback from the Lancia trying to be pulled off, but will not happen. Alex manages to pull up ahead and keep a nice distance on her.
And this is kind of like the extreme opposites that you end up seeing with the power to weight ratios. You see someone like just a car guy, way under 2,000 pounds, but he's barely got 200 horsepower. Whereas Alex, about 2,400 pounds, but he's got closer to 300 brake horsepower. So you'd expect maybe car guy through the corners and in that initial acceleration to have it on Al, but then in the top speed kind of areas of the track, like down towards the end of the front straight, that's where Alex makes his time back, as he runs a little bit wide here, side by side again.
Great racing from those two. Now, let's take a look at SR20K series. He seems to be racing all by his lonesome. He's trying his best. Now, he really doesn't need to try, considering he's the only one here at the moment. But it's still good to get some practice with the car, and even if you're racing by yourself, because you don't have to worry about anyone else battling you, so you can basically get a free practice run. But what's going to be interesting is...
over race distance.
Yeah. Now, what's going to be interesting is if we have a long enough race and there's enough mess-ups in the F2000 class that if F3000 starts lapping them. That's going to be interesting because of backmarker work and stuff and pit stops and all that.
Exactly, and that'll have to work into your strategy. Adam's clearing out in front, but still the battle rages on for second place.
Second place is probably
the sprint race. Yeah, this is the big battle at the moment. This being the sprint race, it's 18 laps, or about 15 or so minutes if you're running a 52-second lap. Obviously, the feature race...
a little over halfway.
Al runs a bit wide there. Al's off the track. Al runs wide.
Al is off.
Can we see
Nito might have a chance of catching up with him now.
No, he's already into the braking zone, but yeah. Just goes to show, when every little tenth of a second counts, you're pushing so hard to try to gain that advantage, and if you push it too hard, you can lose all your hard-worked time down the drain, just like that, in one corner.
Yeah. It's very interesting.
And Al's got it all to do again.
Yeah. It's very interesting to watch how people race like this, like seeing how hard they're pushing their cars and how hard they're moving them around as much as they can. Because these cars, they can, just normally, they can be just like normal street vehicles. They won't look anything interesting. But whenever you put some upgrades on them and smack on the right stuff, you can see some very interesting things come from these cars. They can have some very good races, they can have some very bad races. It's a matter of time and ability. And it's not usually only about the car, it's more about the driver, to be honest.
Yeah, especially in a series where such tight rules that it kind of puts the onus on the driver rather than the performance of the car, like you see in something like Group C, where there's a clear advantage to having one of the more powerful cars in that series, like the Mercedes or Nissan. But
the Porsches in that series, which me and Nito are included, we tend to like try and push our cars and see what we can hold throughout that race. While on the other hand, you in the Nissan and Adam, Alex, both in Mercedes, correct?
Yes.
On the other hand, you guys are up ahead with the more powerful vehicles, pulling away from us. Oh, speaking of which, hold on. Alex tried to go around the outside,
having a look up the inside there, yeah.
Alex looking
this is
for
the
the
thing they end up
here.
seeing. Yeah, you're spending so much of your race, like 12 laps here, just trying to make one pass stick on just a car guy. And that can be the difference. Like, Alex, maybe he's a couple of tenths of a second faster than Adam, but by being held up here in a battle, like, you lose so much time fighting in these cars because it's all about like getting the best exits
Alex going
possible
for
out
the
of the
inside
corners
here.
in front-wheel drive cars. He's got the straight line speed on the Fulvia. Let's see if he can make this one stick. As he gets him just before the line there. On the brakes though, Fulvia looks to the inside, goes on the grass. Passing the grass.
Now that is a rally car, but I don't think we're supposed to be using the grass for passing here. I think you're supposed to keep it on the black stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's somehow made it stick. I expect him to go sailing past the apex, but he's managed to pull it up. Fair play to him. We'll have to see what the stewards say about that after the race. Maybe they'll be a bit lenient, considering it's just an exhibition.
It is an exhibition race after all, so
yeah.
Still working out some stuff here and there. Now, the Fulvia seems to have some really good cornering against the Civic, because the Civic seems to like go stiff through some of the corners. But the straight line is where the Civic seems to hold and blast its way through.
Obviously, a bit more, bit of a taller car as well. That Volkswagen. It probably has a bit more kind of chassis roll and probably a higher center of gravity, which wouldn't help it through some of these corners.
And we are on lap 14 out of 18 now. 5 laps remaining, including the final lap. Adam, I think, as long as he doesn't make a mistake, he should have a good run here. Yeah,
and so long as he doesn't get caught up there with the SR20K series, I don't believe he'll lap him, but definitely in a future race, double the race distance that we see here, I definitely think traffic will be an option, or be an obstacle. Obviously those races, double the race distance of the sprint race, and with a pit stop as well that you have to work into your strategy. But the real curveball of that race is reverse grids. So Adam, who is currently leading, if things stay as they are, he'll end up... Oh, it's just a car guy.
The lampshade goes off, and Alex pulls up ahead of him.
Just that little bit too hard. Yeah.
He was holding it pretty well, especially out of the final corner, getting a pretty good distance away from Alex. Probably got a little bit too cheeky.
Yeah, pushing a little bit too hard there. Maybe that was the reason he was pulling so much. He was just really pushing it and overstepped the boundary there into turn 1.
Now, Nito, I did say I want to watch him. Now, he was holding it pretty well off the start of the race. He was fighting pretty well with Alex. But I think he got ran a little wide, especially out of the little left kink kind of corner. It was like, what, turn 3? I think? 3 or 4.
Yeah, kind of the 3-4 complex downhill after the hairpin.
Yeah. I think Nito got ran a little wide there while battling Just a Car Guy and Alex. Oh, and Just a Car Guy locks up the brakes and loses a little bit of distance with Alex. Alex trying to pull that Civic away from him. And
see the leader here having to deal with a bit of traffic here towards the end of the race.
Yep. Let's hope the traffic doesn't cause any issues for the leader.
Yeah, it doesn't look like
Adam goes up the inside of SR.
Speed.
Yeah,
it
was nothing for Adam.
There's about
2 laps to go now.
50 or 60 or so PI between those classes, obviously with these rules that we have in place for the F3000 class. It's power to weight ratio, not PI based. So you do see a little bit of differences in the PI. Like some cars are low A class, some are high B class. But when it comes to F2000, the cars are fixed in PI so that it has to be a maximum of 550 mid B class.
Yeah. Now, what I'm excited for is we only have 5 people in total in this race, 4 in the F3000 class and 1 in the F2000. Now, what I'm interested for is seeing more people hopefully coming into this, and we can see many more interesting battles, even possibly for F2000. Because F2000 looks like it might be a fun class to watch for battles. F3000, we already know that it's pretty fun to watch for battles, especially with Alex and Just a Car Guy. But Adam, on the other hand, looks like he seems to be the Mercedes of F1 for this.
This opening race anyway, yeah.
So far ahead. Yeah. Well, what'll be interesting is the future race, seeing what happens there.
Yeah, definitely, because Adam will have all the work to do there, starting behind the other 3 cars in his class, and if hopefully Harry will be able to join us in F2000, so we'll have a little bit of a battle. It's interesting though that even in such a short race, we've been able to lap F2000 whilst F3000 have been battling, and the F2000s are pretty much clean air. And as they're around the final corner, it'll be Adam to take the victory.
Alex managing to have a very good battle with just a car guy, but pulling it off to be second place. Well, just a car guy gets third, and Nito will be taking fourth of that class. Now, SR20K might not be able to finish this race, considering his distance from the line, but he's obviously first in his class, since he's the only one there. But this is an exhibition race after all. This isn't exactly the first round of the race, or the series.
Exactly. I know definitely 2 teams are interested in joining us for the first round. Obviously, bringing 2 cars each. Unsure of what classes they'll be joining. I'd assume F3000, because there's some very talented drivers within those 2 organizations. So that would bump that category up to 8 actually, which would almost be the limit. Obviously, 10 cars allowed in each class, but. Just a couple of individual guys join the series, and you'll start to see those fields really flesh out towards the end of the next coming weeks.
And there's the end of the sprint race for the exhibition race, and now we're on to the feature race, which is, you said, double the lap, so that's 36 laps right there.
Yes, it is.
So this ought to be interesting, because due to 18 laps being a possibility of lapping a backmarker, lapping one of the F2000 cars for the F3000, either we could see possibly a double lapping, or we could see a chance at watching multiple cars lap the backmarker. And it's going to be a lot more interesting, because we have to play in with fuel and tire wear, and we got to watch for possible cautions, because damage is going to be something you really want to watch for, especially in these cars, considering how light they are. Damage is pretty easy to get on them sometimes.
Exactly.
As we remember from the Hunter thing that we did around this track.
That was pretty chaotic.
Yeah, it was.
For the sprint race, it's set to just fuel and tires, so you can kind of afford a bit more hargy-bargy in that opening race. Since it's a little bit shorter, there's a lot more on the line, you kind of want to just get out there and race. But with the F2000, with the feature race, obviously there's a lot more longevity with this race. It's 36 laps. If you make a mistake, there is time to recover from it. But the other thing is that it's set to simulation damage, so if you do have damage, you will be able to recover from that, because everyone is going to have to take a pit stop. There is 1 mandatory quick stop in this race, so that'll be the same for everyone.
Now, what I'm interested to see is, now that we got Harry here, now we're going to be seeing, instead of just a Honda Civic 97 racing around on its own, we'll be able to see a 1997 car going against a 2009 car. Because we're going to have mini John Cooper works against the Honda Civic 97. It's the Type R.
Yeah, it's quite a. This is the thing you see, quite a big field spread. Gotta work on that commentary.
That's alright. It's my first time commentating. I don't know how I'm doing this well. I'm doing pretty decent for commentating.
Yeah, you've been pretty good so far. Interesting that Harry's car is currently 10 PI down. I guess he'll be looking to fine-tune it a little bit in preparation for the opening round. He's got 10 PI to play with.
Yeah, he's currently looking towards much less speed than what the Honda Civic has, because the Honda Civic has 6.0 speed, but its handling is 5.1, while on the other hand, the Mini Cooper has 5.2 speed, 5.7 handling, and its acceleration seems to be a little bit less, but might be able to fight that, and braking seems about even. Oh, never mind. Braking is much different. 5.7 on the Mini and like 5.1 on the Civic. So there's a lot of different things
set up
coming
for the
into play
corners.
here.
Yeah, whereas that Civic's more kind of for the straight line. In fact, the Civic is actually the fastest car in the straight lines here, with a 6.0 top speed. The closest thing to it is 5.9, which is Adam. So it's interesting that, like, even within the classes themselves, like, even though they're separate classes, you can still see, like, you know, cars in lower divisions kind of rise to the top of certain aspects of the point system, like handling system.
Yeah. It's
speed.
pretty interesting. Pretty interesting to watch. Now, what brings me the most interest is to see if Nito, due to this being like starting different classes, like you said, it's a reversed grid order, so whatever position they finished in, they're switching around to the position in front of that. So, Nito finished in last for his class. So, is it going to be the F2000s in front of everyone, or are they still going to be behind them, and it's just going to be the F3000s in front?
It's F3000s out the front and F2000s at the rear. I did actually change that. I changed it to group by bucket. So the F3000 cars are reversed for their class, F2000 cars are reversed for their class, but not overall. So F3000 will still be the first pack leading us off.
So what'll be interesting is watching
F2000 cars to ready up.
Yeah. Now what'll be interesting is watching as everyone is readied up now. What'll be interesting to watch
you need to spectate, sorry, so that you don't get.
Oh, my bad. I didn't even notice. I thought I turned that on. My bad. Might have accidentally pressed the button while talking. So what'll be interesting is now that Nito is in the front of everyone, and just a car guy is in front of everyone. So Adam with the fastest car here, and then Alex with a pretty good handling system here. It's gonna be interesting watching those two try and pass Nito and just a car guy, because the interesting thing that comes to me is seeing how Harry will come against SR20. Because those two are just now finally going to have their possibility of their first battle. But we don't know how that Mini Cooper is going to handle against the Honda.
Yeah, with two cars that are vastly different in different areas of the track. It would be interesting to see which one kind of prevails at a track like this. But one thing to take note of is going to be obviously those pit stops. Do you risk taking an early pit stop to get some clean air? But does that bite you then towards the end of the race where your tyres will be more worn? I guess we'll have to wait and see what the strategies are like for everyone and how it works out.
Now, to be honest, I was tempting to join the series and race alongside with y'all. But I decided I'm just gonna go ahead and take. Whoa, okay, every car just morphed into one there. That was interesting to look at. What'll be interesting to watch? Yep. What'll be interesting to watch is, or not interesting to watch. What I would have done if I were to be participating. And lights out, here they go. Whoa, hold on, the Lancia getting a really good start and going around the outside on. Oh, and drift into the first corner. That's one way to do it.
Slippery on those cold tires, yeah. As someone's
the Mini Cooper off
Harry.
in the back.
Harry's off.
Harry off in
What's
the back.
happened, Harry?
Still trying to work out the car. I think 20 possibly took him out and is slowing down for him. So maybe a chance of contact there, and then good sportsmanship. Now,
it's nice to see.
It's nice to see good sportsmanship here and there. Now, Nito is a little ahead of Alex and Adam, trying to hold off, and Alex looks to go around the outside of Adam, but goes wide instead.
Adam already made up a place here off of the start, yeah. So Al dropping back one, Adam dropping or going up one, and then obviously the Fulvia to the lead as well. So he's gone up one and Nito's gone down one. Yeah, I think that's
what's going on here?
Yeah.
That was interesting.
Looks like maybe Al lagged a little bit now because he's behind Adam. So it looks like Al's dropped back a bit there. I don't know how that's happened. He's dropped quite a way behind.
Now Nito seems to be trying to play the
defensive
defensive game. Nito seems to be trying to play the defensive game. Ooh, a little sideways there. Nito's holding off the inside as much as he can, trying to block the Acura from passing him. Now, just a car guy seems to be doing what Adam did and pulled off from everyone else. With a pretty good distance, but with that Acura, has some pretty good straight line speed, so we'll see if that comes into play with catching.
Late on the brakes there. Oh, it's a bit of an issue there for the Fulvia.
Now looks like all of them are going to be grouped up now, so this might be a very interesting battle to watch. Let's see what's going on in the F2000 class. Harry seems to be a little bit behind on SR. SR holding off the lead, but let's see if the Mini Cooper can work through the corners here, trying to get off from him. Now, the corners on this track are pretty quick corners, so even if your car does have cornering speed, it might not even contribute that much towards cars that have straight line speed, considering their speed can carry through with the corners. And these corners are somewhat short, except for the first one at the final corner, which are some pretty long turns. So the cornering speed vehicles might actually have more chances there, while the rest of the track is
Adam tries it around the outside, and Adam's off the track. He made contact with Nito, and he's been escorted out onto the gravel. Alex works his way up to second now, so he's worked his way ahead of these two, and now Adam, with a head full of steam, will be looking to get back up to the back of Nito here now, and give a bit of revenge for that, that move that Nito pulled on him.
Just a car guy is quite ahead, but seems like Alex is somewhat closing the gap.
It's side by side between the two F2000 cars, the only two cars in the class.
Pretty interesting
around the outside from Harry. What a brilliant move!
That was amazing.
Brilliant.
SR20 runs it a little wide, goes for a switchback. Let's see if it works.
He's got the speed down the straight. Can he make it work? He blocks to the inside.
He's blocking it off, trying to make sure he can't get past. Sounded like someone misshifted.
Yeah, looks like SR20 dropped back a bit. Yeah, it looks like maybe a misshift or something there.
Yeah, SR20 backed off.
Yeah, it seems like not having that front splitter was a bit of a hindrance there through the long left-hander there, and Harry was just able to sweep right around the outside there. A fantastic move. The great racing by both of them to have the respect to not hit each other off the track there. Could have been very easy of Harry's off the track a little bit.
And a walk-up to the corner.
A chance to catch up. Yeah.
Now, if we look at the F3000 class, everyone seems decently spaced from each other, like a good single file kind of distance from each other, while the F2000 class, social distancing. There you go. Now, otherwise, F2000 loading it pretty close together. It looks like Nito and Adam have closed in on Alex. And up the inside, SR20 goes to take back the lead for S2000. Or F2000. I don't know why I keep saying Alex. Oh, hang on.
Yeah,
Nito
I guess he just
might have made a little bit of a mistake, because the Acura is catching now, as it looks.
Yeah,
either it was a mistake or it was just speed from Adam.
Yeah, well, Adam's got quite a bit of speed in that car, you know. He's quite good down the straights, and he can just about hang on through the corners. He can and start to stretch his legs down the straights. Obviously, it's a lot easier to just put the foot down and gain time down the straights. It's a lot harder to kind of get the apexes right and pick up the power properly and gain time in that kind of a way when you have a handling-based car. While it might be beneficial at certain tracks like Brands Hatch, it's kind of a double-edged sword.
Now, what interests me the most is watching racing like Grand Touring kind of stuff, like the British World Tour, or what's the other one called? Blancpain. Especially for those, because there are many cars in that, like Mercedes, Porsche, Ferrari, all kinds. And Bentley is especially one of them that I love to watch. Bentley's my favorite, and I race it all the time on Project Cars 2 with the GT3s. A very good car. It's like the only car I can actually race on the wheel and on the inside. What
Not really
interests me
fair
the
place
most
for him.
is...
No dramas.
Now, what's interesting to watch is if a team is going to decide to make the car speed-based for straight-line tracks, corner-based for cornery tracks like Nürburgring, Nordschleife, or if they're going to make it in between. Because if you make it in between, you can somewhat battle for a straight line, but you can also somewhat battle through corners.
Oh, his Nito's off.
While on the other hand, NATO's off. Yep, that's not good.
The gravel there. Very easy to do there in these front-wheel drive cars, just to plant the power a bit too hard and to understeer off the track. And Harry's
yeah, I've done that quite
past,
a bit.
SO20 as well. So yeah, it's changes everywhere.
It's Nito now losing distance with the rest of his class. Well, I think Alex is starting to catch up with just a car guy. Might be trying to make some moves here soon. It's a matter of time.
Let's have a look, see what the distance is. So far, the best lap is from Adam. He's about 5/10 quicker than our leader currently is. Alex closing in now, just 1.5 seconds back. Adam about 5 seconds back. But obviously, if Al does catch up to the Fulvia here, just a car guy, they'll start battling. They'll start losing time. So I think at the moment, Adam is kind of okay to let Al go and to let Al kind of pull away from him, because eventually he's gonna have to start battling with the Fulvia, and that'll put them side by side, and he'll be able to catch back up.
Now, what's going to be interesting is we're only on lap 10, and the sprint race was only 18 laps. Now, this race is double that time. Now, there are 2 F2000 cars on the track rather than just 1, so there may be a little bit of play here with battles from F2000, but then also F3000 trying to possibly pass them while they're having battles.
Exactly. There's a lot of factors, especially when you got the quick stop to take into consideration. Like, are you going to be held up by traffic if you take that pit stop? Like, very early on, if you take a pit stop, you'll probably end up coming out behind the entire field of F2000 cars. Or do you take it kind of somewhere towards the middle of the race so that your tire wear is kind of evenly matched? Or do you just try to take it towards the end of the race? And yeah, he's quite a way back now. He's only going through turn 1 as the rest of the guys are down to the turn 4. There's a lot of different things that can play into effect. Like, you know, obviously tire wear is obviously the main one. You don't want to run the tires into the ground and end up like having a 100% tire wear and not being able to make it back around the track. But you also don't want to be stuck behind. Oh, we did, yeah. You don't want to be stuck behind some slower cars and end up losing time that way. So there's a lot of different factors to take into consideration.
I wonder if Nito had the disconnection issue again, internet connection, because that happens quite a bit.
We have seen that quite a few times where it's disconnections, but we have seen it before as well, where it's just well, not a disconnection due to an internet problem, but just like a genuine disconnection on his own behalf. As we see Alex being closed in on here by Adam, the Fulvia actually pulling away. He's pulled about half a second here on Alex in the past few laps whilst we've been talking about pit stops, and we see Adam has closed in by about 2. So you'd wonder now what the strategy is going to be. Do you think Adam should maybe pit a little early here, try to get an undercut, get some clean air? There's quite a gap back to the F2000 cars. He can just take it nice and easy, get a pit stop in, and maybe in those 1 or 2 laps that he's in clean air, he might be able to get the time out on track to overtake Al. But currently that is not the case, and he's just going for it on track, trying to make it the pass on track rather than in the pits. He's going for it around the outside, perhaps. Can he get a little switchback here? No, it doesn't look like it. But down the straights, he does have that advantage. Let's see.
He's got the inside line, but what's going to be interesting is this corner right here. If you hold it too wide through the first corner of this area, you may be on the outside, but you have the chance of holding the inside as long as you don't try and run it wide. And due to it being a huge right-hander, it's much different.
Yeah, he was able to get the job done really before they got to the second part of that corner though, so he was kind of didn't get compromised on the secondary part of the corner. He was able to hold it for the entirety of the sector there, instead of being forced to the outside like he would have been.
Yeah. Now let's see here. F2000. Oh, looks like someone's going for an outside pass from the minimap.
Yeah, it looks
Harry.
like it is. Oh, SO20K series, a little bit sideways there.
Yeah. Harry, missing out on the sprint race, is doing really good in the exhibition race. He's holding it pretty well up ahead of SR20. And that Mini Cooper, even though it has less speed...
Alex into the pits.
Oh, alright, this ought to be interesting. Oh, the Mini Cooper is around and into the tire barrier.
Oh, that's a big issue.
And the Lancia comes up
on the map, both of them.
Trying to avoid them.
I would wonder, does he have any type of engine damage?
That's something to look at.
Let's see, that doesn't seem to be working.
Damage, here we go. Doesn't look like he has any damage, no. I think we are all clear on damage for him. Suspension looks pretty good right now.
No, everything's fine, just a little bit of tire wear. Only 8% front tire wear for that SR20 K series. So you'd wonder, is he maybe...
Oh, SR20's going into the pits now.
He comes into the pits now for this stuff.
Blistering.
You'd be wondering... Yeah, he really sent it in there. As you have to really try to gain some time in that, so you know, that's what you've got to do.
Some tracks pits are like very interesting to watch, and then some are just like plain and simple. Like now, what's really interesting are very long pits, like Indianapolis or Le Mans, because they have very long pits, and you'll just be driving for such a long time trying to get out of them, and it's very interesting to watch who will come out in front. Yeah, the entry with the little double chicane. Yeah, that's a very interesting. Now, what I'm really interested. Oh, there's a lot of tires scattered out onto the pits. Oh,
Alex back into the pits again. I wonder, did he get a bit of damage? Obviously, simulation damage is on. So Alex now being lapped. I don't believe that was part of the plan for him, as he's actually lost the position to Harry now in F2000, so the leader in F2000 now ahead of the third place car in
F3000.
F3000, that's the one. Thank you. See, this is why we've got two people here. So if my brain isn't working,
why we have
it's
exhibition
all
races.
Okay.
We have exhibition races for the cars and for the commentators.
Yeah. Mostly for my brain. You see,
to be
Adam
honest,
here, trying to close in on our leader.
It looked like he was about to get a little sideways to the final corner. Now, this is my first time commentating, and I'm gonna be very honest, I was shaking a little bit because I'm, like, socially nervous a lot, and, like, I'm scared of huge crowds and stuff. Now, commentating is something I wouldn't expect myself to put myself into doing. But, to be honest, I think I enjoy commentating.
Yeah, especially like when you're here with someone else. Like, you know, it's a little bit more friendly of an environment. You know, if you're on your own, sometimes it can be quite hostile and quite isolated. But when you've got someone else to talk about it with, you know, it does seem like a lot more kind of inviting of an environment.
Yeah, especially whenever there's 3 people, like how we have NASCAR with 3 people in the commentator booth.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It's even more interesting, like how IMSA has the guys up in the commentator booth, and we got guys in the pits, and got people in the paddock, all sorts of people all around the place, doing all sorts of commentating. It's very interesting to watch those. Now, we can't do that on here because, well, it's only just the racing. We do have the qualifying for, like, Project Cars 2, but we don't have a person that can be down in the pits just walking around. You're stuck in the cars, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe when we get onto PC, we'll be able to start doing some grid walks. Obviously, XRACE, the X stands for Xbox. but a lot of the people who are racing in our championships will be looking to make the switch to PCs sometime soon,
Adam
which
into
will
the
open
pits
the
now.
doors. As
Hitting the
Adam
tires on
pits
his
for
way in.
his stop. Yeah, taking every advantage he can, cutting it a little bit fine there.
Now the Lancia
Funny.
is getting a really big distance because Adam was really the only competition, considering Alex was now pushed down a lap due to possible damage.
Yeah, Alex having to take a second pit stop there. Still unaware of the reasons behind that, but maybe if we get a little post-race interview, he might be able to shed some light on that one. See the full view here, mostly famed for its rallying prowess, makes the switch here to the racetrack, and it's holding its own really. A mistake in the opening race was its downfall, but you can see in this race, it's right up there at the front. Definitely.
Now, I'm a huge rally fan. Like, I played Dirt Rally 2.0, and I love rally and rallycross. But old cars are interesting to watch because you don't always just see them in like one particular sport. Say like the Ford Escort, you see that in rally, you see that in rallycross, you see that in like normal racing, like touring and stuff. Very interesting to watch all these different types of things.
Yeah,
Project
especially
Cars too,
over in Ireland, there's a very big there's a lot of Mark II and Mark I escorts that get rallied. Especially the Mark II is very popular in Irish rallying as a rear-wheel drive car in the different rear-wheel drive categories that we have on offer. Over in America, it's not really as popular. Was the Escort actually sold over in America?
I do not know. I'm not fully aware. I think people had them like imported to America, but they might not have been like sold here. I'm not 100% sure
like
about
Japanese
that.
cars.
Yeah. Now there's like some interesting things I saw, like Ford Focuses. Like the 2020 Ford Focus was said not to be like released to America, nor the Toyota Yaris, I believe.
Oh yeah, the Yaris, yeah, because they're bringing out like the Gazoo racing version of that, aren't they?
Yeah.
That seems to be a very cool car.
That'd be a very interesting car to get for yourself, and like you can probably put like your own rally kind of stuff on it, and probably take it out and see how it feels.
Yeah, exactly. In some of the front-wheel drive classes, like is it R5? Isn't it the front-wheel drive class? I believe that's the code name they have for. Oh no, not R5. It's R2, isn't it? Yeah, getting myself mixed up. Yeah, I believe R2 is. Yeah, well, in dirt rally terms anyway. Whether or not those are the actual terms they use in real life, I'd assume so. But I'm not the biggest rally geek.
Me, on the other hand, much different than that. No, I never knew there were like rally terms for like front-wheel drive and stuff like that. I've never heard about that. All I know is that there's like all-wheel drive, front-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive. There's all kinds of things. You know what I would love to watch people race?
What?
The Reluctant Reliant. Just a whole series on that. Just three-wheel cars racing around tracks.
That would be pretty crazy. There's a
none of rollovers.
Yeah, it would be pretty insane. They're actually over in Ireland as well. A funny series that they used to have. I don't believe it's still a thing. I believe they got replaced with Ford Focuses, or not Ford Focuses, Ford Fiestas. We used to have a 24-hour Citroen 2CV race, where you would race a Citroen 2CV for 24 hours around Mondello Park. For anyone who is mental enough to do that. So, I don't think we'll be doing anything like that on Project Cars or Forza anytime soon, but maybe when we get onto PC, we'll set up an iRacing lobby and do like 24 hours in flipping Mazda MX-5s or Volkswagen Jettas or something.
Now, what I'm really interested to watch are the people who are crazy enough to do Nürburgring 24-hour. Because that track itself, like, not the Nürburgring Grand Prix, the Nürburgring combined with the Grand Prix and the Nordschleife, or Green Hell, as they call it for the nickname. It's very interesting to watch them race around that track, especially whenever they have like multi-class stuff for like the Nürburgring 24-hour. There's like a 24-hour racing series, if I'm correct. They race around like Mugello.
Yeah, the VLN.
Yeah.
I think the 20 there's an endurance series that's just for the Nürburgring, and they do like you know the way there's like the different variations where you can like cut out like the Schumacher S's and like just take a loop after the Mercedes Stadium section, and they do like different like 4-6 hour races around those kind of styles of tracks. But then I think they're the series that runs the full 24-hour race on like the full combined with the full GP and the full Nordschleife. But there is like there is actual like other series that again do long distance races, like you say, the 24-hour series, which go to places like Mugello, Algarve, and I believe they they had their first race back last weekend at Portimao. As we see the leader here being held up a little bit by F2000 traffic.
Walked up a bit, trying to not slam Harry in the back.
Yeah, these are the kind of things that you start to see. Yeah, I'm starting to wonder, does he actually get the memo as to the fact that you have to take a pit stop? I would hope so.
The question is, are they running out of fuel, or do they not have that turned on? Let's check that real quick.
Oh, his front tires are really hurting now. 53% on the front tires, and even his rear tires starting to go a bit yellow. Only half of his fuel gone, so he'll be able to make it to the end of the race on fuel, but I do believe he should have to pit, and if he doesn't pit, well, that kind of ruins this race, doesn't it?
Well, let's see if they do something interesting and pit on the last lap, because before, on Project Cars 2, I would always do that, and I regret doing that now because it's always caused me issues. But that used to be a thing that I would always try and do in like online lobbies with mandatory pit stops. I would just wait until the last lap, and then I started doing it on the first lap. Yeah, it has its benefits.
Well, obviously, the first lap has its benefits where you can get some clean air, but obviously the negative side of that is that you've got a lot of tire wear to deal with come the end of the race. The thing about pitting then later on in the race is you have more tire wear at the end of your first stint than if you pitted earlier, but it can be helpful for you to kind of get into kind of a rhythm, so to speak, where you can kind of just sit there and you can just ream off 35 laps, come into the pits, kind of relax everything down a bit, and then go again, and you've only got to do one lap instead of having to like try to find that momentum that you already had before the pit stops again.
Yeah, it's very interesting watching like people trying to figure out when and how they're gonna do their pit strategies, especially on Project Cars 2, because on there you can choose to go into the pits and only have damage be repaired, or you can choose to have just a small amount of fuel or a full fuel tank. You can choose what kind of tires you want to put on your car. Like, in preparation, instead of just like doing it mid-race, what I did was I made myself my own pit stop strategies. So I have stuff like mandatory pit stop, so it's basically just like a little bit of fuel. And then I have the repairs only, so that's if like I hit a wall and spin out and stuff, I can just go in and just repair the damage and go right back out. I have stuff for like endurance races, I have stuff for just only tire changes, I have stuff for like rain, so just like wet tire change, that's it. I have a lot of things set up for the game because I want to make sure I'm prepared and not just like going into the race and like trying to use the D-pad on my wheel to like move the stuff around while trying to make sure I can go through turn 3 without spinning out.
Because obviously, like, the last thing you want is to have to stress out about like on the fly making adjustments to your strategy. Whereas really you don't have to worry about that on Forza. Obviously there is fuel and tire wear, but in terms of when it comes to the actual pit stop itself, you don't really have much control. You just go in, get some tires, refuel her all the way up to the brim, and you're back out going again. And
it doesn't matter.
I don't really even know if repairs even make much of a difference, but you have no control over whether or not your tires get changed or your fuel gets filled up. So it kind of does even it out, so to speak, and I guess that's kind of okay when everyone's on the same level playing field. But obviously when you're on a long distance championship, like an hour 45 of racing like we see in the Group C championship, obviously you want to be able to have that kind of control where obviously my teammate, he fills up 85 litres at the start of the race and then does 2 85-litre fill-ups again. So he kind of like evens it out across the whole of the race. So he's not really having to think too much, just 85, 85, and then maybe 80 to finish the race. Whereas for me, I start on 120, I fill up another 120, and then I've kind of on the fly for the final stint got to work out what the optimum amount left is. So while my strategy may be a little bit faster on paper because I'm having to fill up less, and therefore I'm lighter as well.
You're
as
able to
not
stay on
having
the
to spend
track
so much
more.
time in the pits refueling. I'm obviously having to think, and that's distracting me from driving, so I'll probably lose a bit of time by not being as optimum through some of the corners as I could be.
Yeah.
So
No,
it's all really about driver preference and what you kind of rather, like outright speed or kind of like a little bit more control and a little bit more kind of a calm racing environment.
yeah. Alex still lapped down from the rest of his class, and Adam way behind, just a car guy.
He still hasn't pit yet, so he's only got 5 laps left in order to take that pit stop, so I'd hope he takes it pretty damn soon. You can see there, as he runs off the track there, it must be that tyre wear coming into effect.
Yep.
Yeah, he loses a fair bit of time there, I'd say, in that one. Let's see where Adam is. Oh, Adam's still a fair way back. 21 seconds back now he is. So he's gaining, but not by enough at the moment.
It's just a matter of that pit stop from just a car guy, if Adam will be able to make the move or not. As long as just a car guy pits, Adam can just get past perfectly clean. Unless he makes a mistake that can cause him a lot of time. But I don't think that'll be happening anytime soon.
Yeah, I doubt it. As you see, Adam, he's closed the gap now, just 17 seconds now. And that gap is continuing to shrink here on these last few laps. If there's any more mistakes from just the car guy, maybe even the pit stop wouldn't be enough to alter this race. Maybe on pace alone, Adam could catch up if he continues to show the speed that he has. But I doubt it, unless there's any more mistakes in just the car guy's arsenal.
No. It sucks for Alex that he had to do a double pit, but we will hopefully be able to figure out why he had to do a double pit. Cause I have he might have been leaving the pits, and you know how there's like a little chicane at the end and stuff. I wonder if like his game glitched, and instead of the AI driving him out normally, if it accidentally hit that and like caused a little bit of damage. And if not that, then he must have hit something on his way out.
We saw Harry spin out there, didn't we? We saw that.
Yeah, Harry.
And I think that was on the same lap that Al had exited the pit, so maybe there was a bit of contact there. Who knows? Or maybe in trying to avoid the spinning John Cooper Works Mini, Al ended up hitting the barriers. But like we say, we'll have to just wait for Alex's word on that. We got 3 laps to go here. It's about 2.5 now, I guess. Adam still closing in by about a second or so a lap, but unless just a car guy pits like he's supposed to, it looks like the win is headed his way. It'd be a shame if he wasn't to pit, because obviously his win would be in bad taste then. As well as kind of a bit of sheepishness on his end.
Yeah, you're supposed to pit because there's one mandatory pit stop, as you said, correct?
Yes, yeah, one mandatory pit stop.
Now, what was interesting was, I think I know what mistake the Mini Cooper made while coming in through turn 1. Now, he started to get a little bit towards the right as coming out of the corner. And if they're on wheel, then the mistake was pretty obvious on what they did. They got too loose, and instead of bringing it back normally, they whipped it a little too hard back to the left, and then whipped it to the right again, and then whipped it back to the left, trying to like get it stable again, but just completely
like
lost control and spun. Yeah, and then just spun 180 and then right into the tire barrier. It was very interesting watching that, because I thought the Mini Cooper would be able to hold off the line and just keep it on that position the whole way through. And even though that did end up happening, he's still running first place for his class, for Harry. The Honda Civic
very
has
impressive
been,
showing from the Mini.
Yeah, the Mini might have a chance of being the leader of this class. It's very interesting to watch. We are on the last lap now.
Yeah, he's had experience now racing these cars, which is always why an exhibition race is good to show up to, because it gives you that bit of experience. You're not just a novice going into the first race of the season. we see just a car guy here. He's got a sector left. I wonder, is he doing the Schumacher? Is he going to pit on the final lap of the race?
This ought to be interesting to watch.
See him come down pit road now. No, he's not going to pit, and he's just going to be a complete fool. Well, just a car guy wins on track, but I guess in spirit, the win goes to Adam, who was the person who actually completed the pit stop like required.
Yep,
see Adam coming around the final corner.
It's a little over half an hour.
Across the finish line.
Yep.
He crosses the finish line for second place.
Oh,
Alex, about a lap down here. Unfortunate for him, that extra pit stops really put him down in this race and was never really able to catch back up. To see him coming around to finish off the final lap of the race here. A valiant effort nonetheless to stay in the race and to see it out rather than quitting, because obviously no points on offer this weekend, so no so actual really doesn't matter incentive to come and race apart from a bit of experience. So fair play for sticking around.
Yeah. Now, if just a car guy did what he did without taking a mandatory, say if it was like round 3 and they forget to do the mandatory, would they get a penalty, like a position penalty or just a time penalty? What would happen there if they did the same thing here? Because I feel like a one position penalty.
I believe we've seen that happen with in some of our previous championships where maybe people didn't exactly pit when they were supposed to, or they jumped the start, or weren't following safety car rules. Usually maybe it's like a time penalty to replace that time that you would have been in the pits for. So let's say a 30-second time penalty for just a car guy because he didn't spend like those 30 seconds in the pits.
Yeah.
When Adam came out of the pits, he was about 30 seconds back. So then you just add that to just a car guy's race time, and you get around roughly where he would have been after that. But sometimes
so that would have given Adam the win if that happened.
Yeah, exactly. Under normal race circumstances. But obviously sometimes then there's more kind of severe things where maybe someone deliberately takes someone out to gain a position, or like they maybe like overtake people under the safety car, and when those kind of things happen, you start looking at disqualifications or maybe a ban for the next race. As we see the two F2000 cars come home there, Harry just about pipping S2000, not S2000, SR20 to the win in F2000. Well, that just about wraps up the exhibition race here at Brands Hatch. Obviously, we're back here in 2 weekends' time for the season opener. Thank you very much to Mike for joining us as our co-commentator. I've been Christopher Murnell, and thank you very much.
It was nice.
And any final words?
It was nice being here. It was nice doing some commentating with you. I hope we can stick with doing commentating in the future on the series because it was very interesting to watch. Thank you for letting me join you in the commentator booth with air quotes, because we're both just sitting in our rooms, just watching and talking.
Looking at the TV screen.
But, yeah. But it's still pretty fun, even if we're just sitting in our rooms. It's still a fun thing to watch people race and do all this stuff.
Exactly.
Hopefully we can do this more, and good luck to everyone in the series, and hopefully more people can be involved and we can see more racing. It's going to be very interesting.
Exactly. The more people we get, the more there is for us to commentate on. So hopefully come 2 weekends time there'll be a couple more drivers. Maybe instead of 8 we'll have 18. Thank you very much again for joining me, Mike, in the commentary booth. It's a pleasure as always to have you alongside. We'll hope to see you back in 2 weekends time. Hopefully you don't sleep in too late. Congratulations to double race winner actually. Adam winning both races. Obviously that Integra showing some very positive promising speed early on in the series.
And then congratulations to SR20 and Harry both getting wins for these 2 races. SR in the sprint race because he was by himself, but then Harry showing that Mini Cooper can actually do some good work even after a crash into the tire barrier. Pretty good stuff from him, I would say.
Yeah. Very good showing from him, especially considering the fact that he, for most of the weekend, he'd been 10 PI down, and just now before the start of the the sprint race, he upped that to 550. So he's for being in practically a new race car there with all those new upgrades he had for those 10 PI, he's done quite well for himself. So oh yes, actually, there's one thing. I was about to wrap everything up. We should get some invites going. We should get some people into the party for some post-race interviews.
Yeah.
Holy
We should really get
was
Alex in here.
nearly
That's
a,
what.
Alex and Adam in here. Yeah,
What's up?
Alex, what
Well,
happened
yeah.
there?
By the way,
What happened there? Why did you do a double pit?
so
just
on the
to make
first,
sure your
when
audio
I
is included.
started, I money shifted basically. So I went from fourth, I think, back to third, and I had engine damage, so I pitted early. And then when I left the pit for the second time, I left the pit in second when I should have been in third. Through the menus, see if I had damage from that. I shifted from. I did exactly the same thing again, and I had double the damage I had before.
Dude, car guy.
So
what is
That
in
was
your
like
car, my guy?
Nito, hang on. Alright, so.
Yeah.
Tigger.
It's like
I
No,
refuse to believe
1.3.
that. That
Hang on, they're
thing
trying to
launched like a
commentate.
rocket ship. Oh,
Stop
my bad.
your.
Alright, so. Just a car guy. There was a mandatory pit, but we see that you did not pit at all during that race. Did you know that there was a mandatory, or did you continue? You didn't know? Alright. We had a feeling that's what.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you
Yeah,
see, again, that's what the exhibition race is here for. You know, you can make those mistakes here with absolutely no kind of repercussions. You know,
it usually comes
that's
up
what we're
on
here
the
for.
right hand
It's a
side, but it
learning
wasn't there.
experience for all of us. Yeah.
Chris,
Now.
Yeah.
you want to know what happened?
Yes, Harry.
You want to know what happened? How I spun? I was watching this.
Yeah,
I was,
we were
I
watching.
was watching the
Harry,
stream
we
on my
s-
phone. And I.
Oh, you were watching our stream?
You were watching the stream on your phone while
All I
racing.
can think of is Lewis Hamilton.
All I
put
can
up
say
his
is
phone
congratulations in the
just
Mini
watching.
Cooper.
Thank
So
you.
Harry,
That
all
was,
I can say is congratulations on
on
that.
winning.
You did
Yeah.
really good, even after a hard hit to the wall, as it looks.
I didn't get
was
any
a-
damage from that. I was so lucky.
Yeah, that was
Wow,
very surprising.
yeah.
It might have been
Tire
because you had a
barrier,
tire
nice.
barrier, so you
Yeah.
were pretty protected in that Mini Cooper.
Yeah.
And the fact that you even managed to come back and win the race from that was very good. But I gotta say, SR, your Honda Civic pushed pretty well.
Yeah, it
You
was.
did very good in that race as well.
If there were more straights, he
Yeah.
most definitely would have gotten me a lot more.
Yeah, because it looks like the Civic has more speed.
Oh
Yeah.
god.
Real quickly. Nito.
Yeah.
Did you have a disconnection issue?
Yes.
Alright. Me and Chris had a feeling. We were talking and we were trying to figure out what happened to you. I was the first one to notice that. Chris was like focusing on, I
It
believe.
said disconnected, but I caught a glimpse of my car eating the wall at turn 2.
Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
your blip, and then like right as soon as I looked at it, it just hit away from me, and I was like, oh, I think Anita was gone. It kind of sucked because I was hoping Nito had a good chance there. Nito really had really good runs through this first race and the second race, and you were doing really good. It sucked to watch you just get disconnected out of the
one side
feature
issue I
race.
have with the car is, it's not fast enough. On the straights, these guys just smoke me completely, and in the corners
Yeah,
I don't
you
have
seem to
enough
have
power
more-
to get out.
Cornering, you seem to
I've
do
been saying
pretty
that.
good going into the corner, but out of the corner seems like Adam, Al, and just a car guy can manage to smoke you out of there.
Yeah.
But as long as you can try and work on that, you might be able to have higher chances of battling them.
You try to.
Yeah. And you see, like when someone gets issues, like obviously Al had to pit that second time. Like that's what the difference can be with you getting like fourth place instead of third place, you know.
Yeah.
Obviously, with
So,
an
Adam,
extra
real
pit stop, it
quickly.
adds a lot of time.
Adam, what do you got in that Integra? Because you were running that thing really well in the first race, and the second race, you were pushing that thing pretty hard, and in spirit, you won because just a car guy didn't do the mandatory. But
Well,
you did really well
The
in
thing
the
is,
first.
I'm not running a hood, so that's step one for weight reduction, and step two for letting all
Forgot
the
about
bald eagles out. Well, all the noodles out, you know. So we're going strong on that front. If they bring in rules to wear a hood, you know, to put a hood on, then might be a different story.
Alright.
Weight
Because that
reduction,
in
bro.
Tech was doing
exposed
really
engine
well.
bay.
Yeah,
It was
it
really
does.
interesting watching these races. Now, what I was most interested in was the move that Harry pulled with the outside pass. Chris was the one to watch it.
Oh yeah.
Haha.
From
I did that
Chris's
twice.
reaction, it seemed
I
like
did
it was
the
a
same thing
really good
twice.
move around the outside.
Thank you very
yeah,
much.
Yeah.
Nobody saw me
Very
holding
good
up.
racing
Yeah,
from
the-
the Mini Cooper.
Nobody saw
the
me
front
holding up
splitter,
Alan Adam.
Bro, no one
the front
saw
splitter
me
for that
and
Mini was
Ghost
quite
battle for
quite
like
helpful
10
in
laps.
comparison to the
Yeah,
that
I
was
saw
cool,
that.
though.
We
Civic,
that
couldn't
first
have
race,
considered.
watching just a car guy and Alex.
Yeah, that's
Hopefully,
Yes.
Yeah,
and
watching YouTube battle through that whole race was amazing to watch because it was really interesting to see who could pull in front and who was gonna fall behind. It was very
You know,
interesting
I was-
If
to
I didn't
watch all.
fuck
I
up
was
the third
so-
corner, I probably would have caught back up to him in the last lap.
Yeah.
If
I
there's
was
two
so
more
in the
laps
Me
zone.
left,
and Chris were
I would've caught
stunned
up.
because you weren't there for qualifying and you were starting at the very back of the pack. Yet I managed to watch you make your way all the way up the inside and immediately to like second place. And I was just
Yeah.
watching in stun. I was like, what just
what
happened
is
there?
in your car? What traction do you have? Where do you find this grip?
No, they may
Literally-
have
This
traction,
car's very
but
light. And
Got
it's
no
very,
brakes.
Literally, everyone
low
struggled
light,
up a
power.
lot.
they were
He
locking
just
up a
goes,
lot.
meow.
me and Chris were watching just a car guy, and it kept locking up a lot as we saw because there was a lot of smoke from almost a lot of the corners from that Lancia. Now, that thing may be a rally car, but I think one of the moves that you pulled, even though there's no points involved in this, one of the moves you pulled, you went onto the grass around turn 1, and I was just sitting there making a remark that may
That
be a
was
rally
against
car,
me,
but it's
wasn't
not
it?
meant for
It was, yeah. You put the inside too well.
I
Yeah.
remember it happening, and I was like,
I was
"Ease off
thinking,
and
oh
go."
shit, this would be a sick comeback, and he didn't leave me inside. I was like, fuck it. I was gonna try to
Right.
dive bomb him either and put him in the sand. I was really on my brakes. That was a drag race of turn 2.
I think if your
Yeah.
car was heavier, we both would have ended up in the sand.
Possibly. Well, all I gotta say is good racing from everyone there. It sucked that Needle got disconnected. Now it sucked that you had to take a double pit. I'm having a stroke right now, hang on. But you guys did really good on the track. Harry, congratulations to the win on the feature race. SR,
Thank you.
congratulations on the win for the sprint race, even though you were the only one there. Adam, good job on the win for the sprint race, and just a car guy, make sure you pit next time. Alright.
Thank you.
Okay. Were you doing another race, or is it just 2 races?
It was just
Uh,
those two.
just two,
This was just the
Oh, okay,
exhibition,
okay.
so there's no points or anything involved. This is just like
Yeah.
practice for the commentators and for the cars.
Chris, I have a few questions.
I would like to do one
yeah,
last announcement
shoot.
for the stream.
Hang on, Needle.
Oh, okay, mine.
I'm so glad I
Alright,
saved the
what were you
replay
saying?
for the first
Oh,
race.
I was gonna
God.
say, so the next round is here at the same track, national.
Yes, it's still here at the Brands Hatch Indy Circuit
Alright.
for the opening round of the season.
And then can I rewatch the whole stream like by myself?
Yes, stream should be up. Obviously, the stream replay is up on Twitch for the next 14 days, and then it will be up on YouTube hopefully pretty soon.
Okay,
Okay.
cool.
I'll
be back.
What were you gonna say then, Nito?
All right, thank you guys
what
for
I'm gonna
doing
say is
this.
that I'm moving down to F2 Dawson, considering that probably is the more competitive class.
Alright. So
Yeah.
we will have a
For
new
you.
competitor in the F3000 class rather than F2000.
So, yeah,
So,
it's
let's see
split out
how-
3-3 now.
Let's see if Needle can try and compete with
Came
the
back.
Civic 97 and Harry's Mini Cooper. I gotta say, I'm
all
very
that
impressed
and
by
more
that
to
Mini
look
Cooper.
forward to.
Yeah, but it's
Round
also
one.
supercharged.
Yeah. Well, we'll be seeing Harry in a new car for the opening round
I-
of the season.
He's
since,
gonna be
Yeah.
running the old Mini
that,
Cooper.
The old Mini Cooper, there you
Yeah.
go.
I'll find something else. Thank you. Yes, that was fun.
Yeah, I saw that
Oh,
that
oh, God.
front not having a front splitter seemed to be
Yeah.
a bit of a hindrance around this
Yeah.
tight track. Obviously, down the straights you're obviously flying with no drag and less weight, but yeah, in the corners you could really see Harry was able to pull off some pretty impressive moves there.
Like,
everyone
every time
watching
I hit the
the stream, I
curve in the
guess?
third corner, my car went on 2 wheels.
Yeah, the
well,
curving at turn 1 was quite mean there.
So well.
Alright.
I'm gonna try to do
I'll
stupid narrator
See you guys
voice.
next
You
time.
you having a stroke there, Nito? You okay?
I was trying to do a stupid narrator voice, but my brain stopped working.
I can't wait to see this shit on YouTube.
That seems to happen a lot with you,
Yeah.
Nito.
It'll be up on the
Well, what
Christian
do you
ML
expect?
channel. I'll send you a link if you don't have it.
Alright. Well, good
Alright,
racing from
well,
everyone. I
Good race,
hope
boys.
you guys
Good race, guys.
have a
Yeah.
good day.
It was enjoyable.
Hopefully,
wait.
the next race we'll be able to see more people there. We'll be able to
Yeah.
see more close racing. Very interesting stuff from everyone. I hope you guys have a good day. It's fun commentating with Chris. This is very interesting stuff to do. That'll be the end of the stream
Okay.
for me.
Hold on, I'm trying to do something.
Yeah.
Bye,
get
internet.
my stream going. Please. Yeah, as
here it
Falcon
is.
pointed out, there was some interesting battles there throughout that race, and it'll be interesting. Obviously, that was off of.
Need to stop.
In this second
need
race, I was really
Copyright.
like, holy shit, I did not
We're
want
not
to
trying
hold
to
off
get
the
copyright
Integra.
claimed.
God. That Integra has some fucking speed, holy shit.
Yeah, that thing is really
Goes well.
pushing the track like there was no tomorrow.
I have an
I like
acceleration,
it.
and then everyone else has top end over me.
Yeah, because obviously you're much lighter than everyone, so you have that low end kind of acceleration. But once it starts getting to kind of the speeds of our power models more, you're a little bit left behind.
Yeah.
It was so frustrating for me when I had my engine damage because I just the only place I knew I could catch up with you was on the straights, and then I had the damage, it wasn't happening. So I was
Alright,
just
I'll
so
see you guys. Have a
frustrated
good
with
day.
myself.
See ya.
Alright, see you, Falcon.
Yeah.
Just want to say thanks to Falcon for being the commentator here with me. It's always good to have someone alongside you in the booth. Congrats again to Adam on his 2 victories in F3000.
Thank you very
To
much.
Harry and SR20 on their respective wins in the feature and sprint races in F2000. Only 4 cars in F3000 and 2 cars in F2000 today, so hopefully those numbers will be up by 2 weekends time, and we'll be able to see a lot more cars out on track for a lot more excitement and
Hell
a lot
yeah.
more variables in the strategies. Obviously with only 2 kind of cars in F2000, it meant not much in the way of lap traffic, but maybe next time we'll see a lot more of the guys kind of having to battle their way through lap down battles, so it'll certainly be an interesting one. And I hope you were there to see it in 2 weekends time. Thank
Yeah.
you very much for watching, and until the next stream, goodbye.
Aw, that's sweet. Yo, Gray, you still there?